Good morning. This is DadSchooled podcast. I'm Josh, and this is Jimmy. Say hi,
Howdy.
Jimmy. There we go.
Hi, everybody.
We are a bunch of dads, a bunch being two, like a bunch of So we're a bunch of dads who we want to further the dad kingdom. How's that for a phrase? Further the dad kingdom. I just came up with that on the go there.
Might need a little polishing, but yeah, you're onto something there.
Yeah. Further, I don't know how we're going to further the dad kingdom. Like, I don't know. We're not matchmaking people, so that's kind of weird.
No.
Okay. Back to the reason we're here. Okay. So here's a little teaser for today. Every dad has a blind spot. And a blind spot, I mean things that we obviously don't see ourselves doing as dads, but we don't see them. So they're blind. The blind spots. That's what I call blind spot. But they're gaps in a father that we want to be versus the father that we are currently. And also, maybe our wants and currents aren't even close to the father that God wants us to be. So today we're going to look at 5 different, top 5. The 5 different gaps that Jimmy and I have identified through tireless research of existing as dads and just noting down our own gaps sometimes. And we're going to share it with you today. So
I love back in my old retail days when we would be giving reviews, your annual review for employees, and you would list someone's strengths and opportunities, not your weaknesses or gaps, but their opportunities for future growth. So that's what I think we want to emphasize today. These are opportunities.
Should we use air quotes when we say that?
Yeah. So what's your main opportunity for future growth?
So I will say on this topic, it is something that I have been convicted on probably more than anything else in my walk with the Lord. I go to church every single Sunday that we are able to, and I attend, youth programs on Wednesdays. I have Bible studies Sunday nights. I have our service on Sundays. And a common theme that I have for myself throughout the entire time is I know I should be doing more to serve God and serve God and my family as well than I'm currently doing. And that, I think, is going to be kind of the heart of all 5 of these topics. Because what I've come to realize is whenever things are going wrong, you can 9 times out of 10 take a look introspectively and be like, am I doing the right things I should be doing? Now, we all know as Christians that a Christian walk is going to be difficult in this world. This world is not like Christians. This world is of the world. This world is not of Christians. Okay. We have a higher calling, a higher goal in mind. In the end, our kingdom is eternal. Our kingdom is not of this earth. So it's an interesting battle being a Christian. But being a Christian as a dad is not going to be any easier. Just because you put the word dad by it doesn't make it easier. It actually makes it harder.
Yeah.
So with all that said very clearly and to the point, I felt convicted that we needed to talk about this because every single week I feel like I could do more. So that's how I kind of came up with we have gaps and we need to fill those gaps. Man, there's so many different things we could say with this. Like we could fill these gaps with God putty.
Get some spackle. Yeah.
Get some holy spackle.
That's right.
Do you have any gaps that you think of in your life, Jimmy, that on a weekly basis or just a season? What do you experience?
Like I say, like the one that's been one that I really, really had to finally buckle down and like, okay, I gotta get over this. Part of one of my vices is I'm a bit of a podcast junkie, I guess you might say. I listen to a lot of things when I'm at work. when I'm out doing yard work or whatever, I'm just always listening to, what's going on. And oftentimes that would spill over into when I'm home and when I'm having one-on-one time with my kids, and I'd have my earbud in and having to listen to it. Would just like, okay, I'm almost done with this one. I just want to finish this one. And so I would be around my kids, I'd be with my kids, but I wouldn't be really engaged with my kids. And what would, like, the irony of it is sometimes I'd be listening to podcasts about like how to dad well and like how to be a better man, how to be a godly, righteous man, and all that, I'm like, yeah, this is really good stuff. And then like all the while I'm like ignoring my kids. And so yeah, I got really convicted of that, and having lots of conversations with my wife, and like, yeah, I got to get better at that. And so that was, I hate to say it, it was a struggle, like for a good while. And it's still something that, like, if I'm on my own working on, something in the kitchen, I might still be tempted. Like, I want to have it in because I'm on my own and there's no one else around. And I can take it out whenever, someone shows up, but, I can focus on them when they come in. But that always just leads to still being disengaged and not present with what's going on in my home. So, yeah, that's one I continue to work on and want to move past.
So if while we're talking, a kid walks in and you like shove him out of the way with your hand, we should probably have a conversation.
Probably.
Okay. Not now. Dad is podcasting.
That's right. Yeah.
All right. So to the actual the meat and potatoes of this matter. And then once again, I'm going to start every podcast probably with this as well. We're not experts. We have made our mistakes in life. We have a lot of material because of that. We know we've made mistakes, and it's how you come back from those mistakes and how you fix and identify things and move past them. Whether a conversation with your spouse about, parenting and how you both have different viewpoints on it. All those conversations add to your toolbox of, things you can do to be a better dad. It's how you use that information that makes you a better dad. Just because you're sorry, I got hung up on that one. Just because you are a buff, huge, dad, and you think you're the baddest dad in the world because you can tell your dad to do something and they snap to it, doesn't mean you're a good dad. Okay, so take a second with us to go through these and maybe do a little self-reflection on yourself. It's hard to look at yourself and judge sometimes. It's easy to judge others, but let's get to this. And this isn't about beating yourself up in this process. It's about identifying and understanding the gap in your dadhood, we can call it. Ooh, gap in your dadhood.
Ooh, yeah.
I like that one. That's a t-shirt for you, Jimmy.
Yeah.
So the words you speak, and I think this is important to start with here. Ephesians 4:29 says, "Let no corrupting talk come out of your mouth, but only such as is good for building up, as fits the occasion, that maybe give grace to those who hear." Okay, this is important. Paul's talking here about not corrupting people, not being rotten, not tearing people down. We're supposed to give grace to people, even if we disagree with them. I think, especially in nowadays society, we need to give people grace, and we need to. Let me take that back. In today's society, we need to stand up for what's right, but we need to do so with grace. We can't be jerks about it because that's not what the Bible tells us to do. It literally says it right there. Only such is good for building up for the occasion, and may give grace to those who hear. How this applies to you as dads. I mean, how doesn't it apply to you as dads? Are you supposed to yell at your son or daughter every time they do something wrong so they feel like they are failing every aspect of life? No. There's a right way to say something, the wrong way to say something, and you can get the same message across. And most of the time, if you say it the right way, you won't have your kid hating you later on in life. So,
right.
Now, what is the correct thing to say, Jimmy? Do we have an answer for that in every situation?
Always.
Always? Okay. All right. That's maybe you can tell me sometimes. Um yeah, what is it? Proverbs 18:21. Death and life are the power of the tongue. I mean, your tongue, your mouth, your words have a powerful impact. Like we see that in society. People get mad if they feel attacked by your words, they get mad. Okay? Now, you obviously can't control how they feel about your words. That's another important distinction. If you have a sunflower child who is very sensitive to every single thing in the world, that is something you got to take in consideration. You might need to tone it down a 0.5%. Okay. And you can work on that with that kid, how not to be a sunflower child who gets offended at every single thing you say. But you can also, on your part, knowing that about your kid, you can check yourself before you wreck yourself.
I knew that was coming.
And you can be a better communicator with your spouse, with your kid, with other people around you. How you talk to people around your kid, like your caretakers who help you raise your children, anybody at your church, anybody at the supermarket, anybody at all, someone who cuts you off in a supermarket with too many items in their cart in a self-checkout line. You turning to your kid and being like, this person cut me off and it's terrible, blah, blah, blah. That goes on your kids' memories as how great of a jerk dad can be. And that's not what you want. They're teaching them. And this is, my wife is probably laughing her butt off right now because I'm the biggest hypocrite by saying this. And I realize that this is the whole point. I realize the gaps in our lives. This is why I'm helping teach you dads. This is a concern.
Well, we just end up teaching them what's acceptable behavior.
Right.
Yeah. Or what should be an opportunity for growth.
Yes. This is exactly opportunity. Every one of these points is opportunity for us every single day to check these 5 things, and we can potentially be better dads than we were the day before if we work on all 5 of these things every single day.
Yeah.
All right. What's up next, Jimmy?
So this ties in with the one that I was talking about, and that's just being present as a dad, that not just being physically around in the same building, but actually when you're around your family, when you are together, that you are present as a father. And there's so many distractions that come our way these days, like, hold on, daddy's got to set his fantasy football lineup. Exactly. I mean, there's always things to scroll through on Facebook because it doesn't end. Like, it's designed to not end. It only ends when you shut off the screen and put it down. Like,
I thought I got to the end one time, Jimmy.
You finished the internet?
No, my internet just cut off.
Right.
I was lost for a second. I was like, it's not going any further. I did it. I got to the end. And then it loaded the next screen.
And then, then the internet reconnected. Yeah. But so there's the verse in Deuteronomy of teach them diligently. That reminds us that it's what we're doing at all times as a father. And the verse talks about you're talking to your kids, you're present with your kids when you sit in your home and when you're walking down the road, or just when you're traveling. Like you might be on a car trip, but when you're sitting in your house, when you're going someplace, when you're laying down to go to bed, when you wake up in the morning. So basically all the time, you are talking to your kids and you are teaching them. You're taking a active role in the formation of your children, and that only works if we're checked in, we're clued in, and aware of our surroundings. We don't have our ears blocked off and have no clue what's going on around us because we're in our own little world. And I understand what it's like to be a dad, having come home from a hard day of work. You're exhausted or mentally drained, physically drained, depending on what kind of work you do. And you want some me time, some alone time. Like I understand that draw to retreat into yourself and ignore the rest of the world around you. But once again, this is that learned behavior that ends up being passed on to your kids. That especially when they come directly to you with something they want to talk to you about, something they want to tell you about, experience they had, something they're excited about, and we brush them off. That's a formational experience for our kids, and that's something that we would wish to avoid all the time, or at least as often as possible, that we are not too busy or disinterested, that our kids don't get the dad that they deserve. So absolutely, this is one that that checks that box for me as an opportunity still. I mean, I haven't got everything figured out. Like you showed, yeah, these are annoying and they get in the way all the time. So, yeah.
So we have the words you speak, how you talk to people. We have your presence. We have, being around your kids and being present, which I think we touch on every single episode we do, is to be present as a dad. And I think that's like important to reemphasize every single time we talk to people, and you have other dads in your lives that, make sure you encourage them to be present, because that's like the starting point to anything we talk about. You can't implement any of these self-help issue guidelines, anything we talk about. You can't do anything if you're not there. So
That's right.
just wanted to point that out again. So we had what you say, being present. Now we have actions and versus intentions. Okay. And I wanted to back up a second here, because we have James 1:22. Okay. And this is not the most well-known verse compared to its predecessors. So James 1:19 says, "Know this, my beloved brothers, let every person be quick to hear, slow to speak, slow to anger. For the anger of man does not produce the righteousness of God. Therefore put away all filthiness." Read that wrong. "Put away all filthiness and rampant wickedness, and receive with meekness the implanted word, which is able to save your souls." Okay. I wanted to say all that beforehand because it leads into this verse, James 1:22. "But be doers of the word and not hearers only, deceiving yourselves." So it's important to, we just talked about this: slow to speak, slow to anger. For anger does not produce the righteousness of God, right? That ties into what we were talking about before. But this is important because even if you come to terms with your quick speaking, angry tongue, and you check that, actions you do are important. And if you don't do actions, it's not going to mean anything. Doesn't mean dilly squad if you didn't say the mean things, if you do mean actions, right? If you go over your kid and whack him upside the head, it doesn't mean anything if you didn't say, "Kid, you're stupid," whack, right? You still went whack. That's the problem. So you need to do good things as well. Okay. So hearing what you're supposed to do, self-deception, is like the root of that. If you are not doing things that you're hearing, like if you're hearing God's word and you're not taking it into an actionable item and doing good things, it doesn't matter. You can have the best intent. What is it? Hell is paved with good intentions. Is that what the phrase is? The road to hell is paved with good intentions.
Right.
I mean, it's so evident. People, and I have, this is like, for me, once again, this is me. I have some of the best ideas in the world when I'm sitting by myself and in my own thoughts. And I have always like self-motivated. I'm going to do this. I'm going to get home and do this. I'm going to be so productive. And I get home and guess what I do? Nothing. And it didn't matter. I had all the best intentions, but it didn't matter. So
not nothing. You're doing something, just not the something
right
that was part of your plan.
I'm returning void. I'm not doing anything. Right. So from a dad's like lens on this, if you have good intentions to disciple your kids, to sit down and go through God's word every single day, like I have those good intentions. Like I recognize that is a gap in my life that I need to be better at. But if I don't take actions on them and put the effort forward to do that, as awkward as it might feel for me sometimes, it doesn't matter because I'm failing. I'm failing what I should be doing. And that's gonna have a lasting impact on my kids down the road when I fail to do the things I should be doing. So that's the whole, that's the point of this. You need to make sure you follow through on what you're saying you're going to do and what you know you should be doing. Our kids can detect inconsistency faster than anything in the world. And they'll point out your hypocrisy faster than anything in the world. So if you're saying, study your Bibles or do your homework, and then you're not doing your chores that you should be doing, and you're putting the dishes off, and you are not finishing projects you tell your spouse you're going to do, your kids are going to pick up on that. They see your actions. They see, you can say your intentions and your actions and your word means less and less every single time you don't follow through on it. Okay. So, man, I love that phrase. Check yourself before you wreck yourself. Like, we should do a theme just on that. We say it over and over again, which this is turning into that. So
we'll get a lot of subscribers that way.
We'll get all the subscribers. So words you speak, your presence, actions. Take action. Be intentional on your actions.
Yeah, and then next is, this is a tricky one. Is what do we do in moments of frustration, and in particular, what do we do with the emotion of anger? How do we handle that? How do we deal with that? Where do we go with that? You already touched on the verse in James of let every person be quick to hear, slow to speak, slow to anger. And it says the anger of a man doesn't produce the righteousness of God. And oftentimes, especially in Christian circles, I've seen this before where it's inadvertently, I think it's end up being taught. Men, you should never, ever, ever have the emotion of anger, period. Never have anything that bothers you. And we end up being a society of people who just stuff our emotions down. Like, well, I'm not supposed to feel anger. I'm not supposed to feel all these other things. And so we stuff it down. We don't actually deal with what's literally going on around us. And we end up being just kind of this hollow shell of a person sitting over in the corner because we stuff our emotions. We don't let ourselves feel grief or sadness or any of these other things that go on in our life around us. Because backwardsly and accidentally, I think we end up being kind of taught that by others around us. So this verse in particular doesn't say like, don't ever be angry. And we do see times in scripture where it talks about, righteous anger, God's righteous anger. So it's, what do we do with it? I mean, one of my favorite verses and something I had tried to implement in my life is, I wish I looked it up, just now popped into my mind. I think it's Proverbs something, but don't let the sun go down on your anger. And the idea on that is, before the day is out, seek reconciliation with whatever the circumstances that's going on in your life, whatever it is that caused you to be frustrated, have a moment that is bothering you, reconcile it, seek a conclusion, seek forgiveness, whether it's you giving forgiveness to those that you deserve to ask for their forgiveness, or those who are coming to you asking for forgiveness, reciprocate in return. The other danger that we end up seeing is, I feel like there's the two pendulum extremes. We either stuff our emotions down and we end up being this, I have to be strong and stoic and I can't ever show my emotions. That's like one pendulum extreme. And then the other is the dad that just flies off in fits of rage. And that also is extremely unhealthy, dangerous to those around you, damaging to your relationships with your kids, with your spouse. And uncontrolled rage is not biblical. I would say that is a sinful state to be in, letting the flesh win over. But then, so what do we do if we have, frustration or events in our life that bring about anger? For me, I try to allow it to be a motivating force. Especially so many of us men, we end up being, I want to be Mr. Fix-It. I want to be a solution to the problem, whatever's going on. So what can I do in my own personal sphere of influence to help be a solution maker and allow that anger or whatever's going on in your life to be a motivating fuel of, okay, I have an opportunity to help make things better for myself and those around me, for those that I love.
Let me step in for a second there as well.
Yeah.
The verse you were looking for before is Ephesians 4:26.
There we go. Ephesians. I mean, it sounds like it'd be a good one from Proverbs. Sounds like a proverb.
It
right?
sounds like it. Be angry and do not sin.
Well, the
Do not
camera's
let
on.
the
Sorry,
sun
my brain
go
just
down
goes.
on your anger and give no
Yeah.
opportunity to the devil. But I did want to specify, kind of jump in and say, when you're angry, you also can look at yourself and be like, why am I angry? Am I angry because basically, am I justified in my anger? That's a good question to ask yourself as a dad. Am I? And the quick answer is, of course, I'm justifying my anger, right? But am I angry because I'm not getting my way? Am I angry because I think my kid should act a certain way and they're not? Now, the way they're acting, is it honoring God? That's a great way to start with evaluation of this. And my anger, is my anger honoring God? Is it a righteous anger, or is it a self-serving anger, a selfish anger, if you will? Because if we're angry for the wrong reasons, it's not going to produce the fruit of God. If you're angry for the right reasons, it's a biblical anger of, you should be following God more, you should be doing this, we should be doing, and you're angry because you're not doing that. That's the right kind of anger to have, and that's okay to cultivate in a safe way to somebody else. But you gotta be careful you're not angry for the wrong reasons. And a lot of times you can stop yourself before you wreck yourself. Because you can identify, hey, I'm really, this is a selfish anger. I need to stop. And there's a slow boil up. Sometimes you feel it coming. It's an annoyance long term. And the best way to handle that is to talk with other dads. Seek counsel of strong, biblically minded individuals.
Yeah. I mean, the tricky part is when you're in the midst of the heat of a situation, good judgment, clear thinking tend to be some of the first things that go out the window. So
yes,
taking opportunity and time when you're not dealing with those kinds of emotions to seek to discipline yourself. How do I train my mind into positive thought patterns that will allow me that when it's the heat of the moment, how can I make a wise decision in this moment? How can I think through things that, yes, I need to take action. I need to step up. I need to be protective of my family. I need to right a wrong and seek righteousness. Like I want to do the right thing, but I don't want to be flying off the handle and causing more harm and injury to others or myself physically or emotionally. And yeah, it can be a hard one to balance. And I don't think any of us ever get it completely right. But it's a good one to focus on for sure.
So probably like training your mind, like you're just saying, training yourself, even when you're not angry and when you're doing basic decision making or basic interactions through life, you can train yourself to weigh everything that you are outputting from yourself through a lens of God. Like, how is this honoring God? How is this in a godly spirit that I'm doing this? Am I showing God's grace in what I do? Is that what's coming from me? And if you start doing that even when you're not angry, then hopefully the idea would be that when you do get angry, you'll fall back on that same mechanism, the same muscle memory retention of, this is how I should filter my outputs through the Bible, through the Lord. And the hopes is that you will catch what is not supposed to come out. So in the same line, like part of recapping words you speak, your presence, being present around, actions, how you handle frustrations. Now the final one, top 5 that we've identified, gaps in our dadhood. Who you let speak into your life. Okay. And I don't think these are put in any particular order. This isn't like the biggest one, but it's the last one. So it's the biggest one right now. but it kind of everything flows together, and this one definitely goes with the angry talk. If you are allowing garbage into your life, then garbage going to come out of your life. It's garbage in, garbage out. It's a very simple concept. You show me anything in the world, anything where you can put bad things into something and you get good things out. I mean, I would love to hear it. So go to dadschoolpodcast.com and write me how wrong I am about something. Give me examples. I want to hear them. Yeah. And I will debate those back to you and show you how wrong you are. Hopefully.
Good job.
I'm going to get like a really good one the first time. Like, dang it. But we all heard this proverb, iron sharpens iron. Well, it's one of Jimmy's favorites. He actually has it tattooed on his forehead. You just can't see it.
Yeah, that's why I always wear a hat.
Yes. Iron sharpens iron. It's weird. They spelled the last one wrong. But yeah, iron sharpens iron and one man sharpens another. Okay. This is very straightforward. You have two, the key here is godly individuals. You will have iron, you will have something cutting your iron if you have a not godly individual in your circle of friends and groups that you're relying on to shape you. Okay. Because you scrape against each other, there's sparks, there's friction, and that camaraderie, that learning from each other is what strengthens each other. Okay. But if you have someone who's cutting through somebody else and not sharpening you but hurting you, that's when you need to not be with that person, and you need to find a better iron partner because your iron partner is broken. But yeah, so in this trickles down. Same thing. You need others as a dad. You need your wife. They are biblically placed at our side to help us. They're our helper. They are our companion, our assistant, our checks and balances. They are there for our benefit, not for us to dominate, not for us to be better than, but we are one together, one flesh. Okay. If we were above them, it would say you are the better flesh. It would say you are the master of everything in the universe. But it doesn't say that. We are not Voltron or whatever that is, masters of the universe.
Yeah.
We are men. We are dads, and we have a companion called wife, and we have kids. And our job as wife and dad is to teach our kids. And to teach our kids, we need to make sure we have the tools we need. We are sharp. We are diligent. We are all the things we just talked about come all together and solve or help us solve what we're supposed to do in life. Like, we're supposed to be there and glorify God and teach our kids that. So if we have others in our lives that help point us in that right direction, if we get out of line, we need someone, a godly person, to direct us back and say, hey, I saw you doing stupid things over here and you started getting crazy. I'm going to bring you back in. And I think you should look at this, and we should talk about this, and tell me about your, tell me about your feelings.
Right.
But you need somebody in your life to help with that, and they need to do it correctly. And you need, as a dad, you need to surround yourself with people who can do that, who can speak into your life correctly. You don't want people speaking into your life about how terrible you are, unless you truly are terrible. That's another hard conversation, because sometimes you are, and you need someone to tell you that too. But watch how people act. If they're not acting with your best interests in mind, and if you can't see a godly lens in things they do outside of talking to you, even, like, don't associate with a hypocrite who will, I mean, that's hard to do sometimes because we're all sinners, right? But like, you don't want somebody who is smoking a cigarette come up to you and tell you, don't smoke. Yes, they might have life experience to tell you that. They might have the cancers that come along with that. But you need somebody who's practicing what they're preaching, who are actively trying to better themselves as well. You don't need somebody who is who's actively sinning and loves their sin and wallows in their sin. You need someone who actively rejects sin and helps you reject your sin. So I think that horse is well beaten. What do you think, Jimmy?
Yeah, I think so.
Yay or nay? Okay, so where do we go from here? Like, do we need to like get a check your gap kind of shirt or something, or we need some pamphlets like Dad Gap check or something?
Yeah. We'll have to give that one some thought. Yeah,
We'll let that one simmer in the fire.
exactly. And that one needs to go back in the oven a little longer.
All right, so we have any challenges this week, Jimmy?
Yeah, I mean there's those 5 gaps that we just spelled out. It's your presence, your anger, who's pouring into you, the words that you're speaking, all that sort of stuff. Each of us have those gaps. And I think we're reminded in Matthew of when we're seeking first the kingdom of God, then all these other things can be added to you, unto you. But it's when we're seeking after God, His things, the things that are important to Him, the things that matter to Him, the things that are spelled out in His Scripture, that these are what matter. This is what's important. This is who He desires us to be. All of these other things start to more naturally fall into place whenever we are seeking to live by God's Spirit, His truth, His righteousness. All these other things just kind of start to click a little more. It's that natural fruit that is that the outgrowth of what's planted will bear fruit. So what are we planting? What kind of field are we tending? So that's what we're looking for. That's what we hope for.
A field of sins or a righteous field?
Weeds, yeah, weeds. Or a good crop.
All right. So this week, watch your gap, check your gap. Make sure your gap is producing the spark it should in the engine of your household. If you need to add some ether and clean that gap a little bit, adjust it. Make sure you do that. Go through each one of these things. The words you speak, being present, intentions, and then actions. Follow through on your intentions. Checking your frustration. Prevent one argument this week, and you will succeed on that one. Who you let speak in your life. Evaluate once again. You should constantly evaluate who is in our lives and what we do with those people. Do that. Do one of those every single day. And you'll be good. You'll be better. We want to hear about that. Tell us in our socials. We're on YouTube. We're on Twitch, actually. We're on Facebook right now, live. We have all of our podcasts saved on all of the areas. Do you listen to us ever, or do you listen to other people, Jimmy? Do you listen to us again ever?
I come back. Yeah, no, I come back and re-listen.
Where do you listen to it at?
I sound weird. Apple Podcasts.
Apple. So you listen on Apple. You're a person who likes the apples. We are also on Spotify. We're on Spotify, Apple, and you can find us on YouTube, the podcast section on YouTube. So look us up, subscribe, like, share us with another dad out there. Yeah, hopefully we encouraged you in some way, shape, or form. We want to hear about it. DadSchoolPodcast.com. Send us an email and let us know what you think about our gap.
Yes. All 5 of them.
All 5 of our gaps. Yeah. So have a good week, and we will see you next time.